Lydia Des Dolles, Fight Connect TV in association with Empire Fight Store, and I am here at Night of Champions press conference in association with Frank Warren, Queensbury Promotions with Francis Warren. How are we?
How you doing? Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you, and thank you so much. We're very happy to be here, our first Frank Warren event.
It's a pleasure. It's good to. I'm glad you got to one.
Yeah, well, I'm finally moved to the UK, so
okay.
You know, hopefully you'll see a lot more of me. Yeah, absolutely. A great press conference here today.
Yeah, it's good. It's quite a contrast in a couple of fights in terms of the personalities that were on the top table, going sort of from back to front. Mr. Relaxed Anthony Yard, cool and collected as ever. Anthony and Leon, I think they've. I just said to Leon Woodstock, he's going to have a career in motivational speaking when he retires from boxing, because some of the stuff he comes out, it's like Mr. Insightful, isn't it? And Anthony Catchy's a lovely guy, very respectful. And then Akeem and Sam, I think they would have still been going for it had we left them to it. So
nice little bit of needle ahead of the fight with Akeem and Sam, right?
Yeah, I think it's genuine needle as well. I mean, you can sort of tell when it's a bit of bravado, and they've had a chat in the corridor before, but we've got some security here today to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
Everyone was secured.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like you say, lots of characters, lots of different personalities here. That's what makes a fight card, and that's what the fans are after. In terms of Queensbury Promotions, what do you look for when you're signing a fighter? Obviously, we have established fighters here, but there's been a lot of brand new fighters. We've just done an interview with Janae Boston, one of the names. Obviously, Hamza Shearer, another big name that is seen onto the scene. So what does Queensbury look for when they're signing fighters?
I mean, first and foremost, you've got to be able to fight and box. Obviously that and there's you don't have to be anywhere near the finished article, but you've got to have that determination and drive, coupled with natural ambition, to want to be as best as you can possibly be. And that for me is, I think the talent is only so much of it. It's the hard work and dedication and having the right people around you to and the will to want to be the best. Even if some of these guys in their heart of hearts, they might actually think to themselves, right, I'm not going to get to that certain level, but I will work my arse off to try and get there. And if I fall short, it's not a problem because I've worked my arse off to do it. Obviously, we believe in that the majority of our guys will get to the top, and it's about guys who will listen to and take notice of direction and advice, not just from us but from trainers and managers, and also guys that have got a bit of something about them. Something that's got a little bit of a twinkle in their eye, and popular guys. It's a joy to work with such different personalities, and that's the aim of it. I think it's talent and personality. Is what you're after.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been in the sport for a very long time. You've obviously seen.
I'm brand new. What are you talking about?
But what has been the biggest change that you've seen within the sport?
Social media, without doubt. That's how long I've been.
A blessing or a curse?
It can be both. I think 17 years was 17 years. I've been around sport for forever. Went on Frank Bruno's Open Top Bus Tour. Nazim Hamed in Dublin in '96 was my first fight. So I've been around it a long time. But actually working in the sport, it's been 17 years, and Facebook hadn't even started then. So that development, and especially Twitter, has been a bit of both. Blessing
and a curse.
A little bit.
Absolutely.
But listen, it's given guys who otherwise probably would have taken a little bit longer to raise profiles. It's shot them up there very, very quickly. You've only got to look at a gentleman on Sunday night who's fighting on BT Box Office, Jake Paul. What he's managed to do in such a short space of time is because of social media. There's no doubt about that. It's not because of God-given talent. It's because of hard work and social media and working his arse off on both. But you've got some guys who are very, very good at it. Sonny Edwards, for one. He's a master of it. He's a master in the ring, and he's a master of, on it, sitting there and not just winding people up. It's constructive and it's insightful. Some of it.
Yeah.
And obviously with the changes, another big change is obviously sites like yourselves. And giving fans the insight into fighters' lives that they probably otherwise wouldn't have. I think if you go back to before social media, it was probably a bigger intrigue in individual fighters, because you'd only see them at a head-to-head press conference when the fight's announced. Then you might get a 1 hour special or something on an ITV. Nigel Benn pops to mind running up the mountains in Tenerife. Then you'd get the head-to-head presser, then the weigh-in and the fight night. So you wouldn't see these guys very often. So that intrigue for the fight week was huge. However, these guys get round the clock attention now. So it's good for them, it's good for us, and I've got to say it's definitely a blessing. Long-winded way of saying it's a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel it's a blessing as well. And before I let you go, final question. Obviously, the big name this weekend. So obviously, we've Daniel Dubois and we've Tommy Fury on your card in the States and Ohio. But Jake Paul, as you mentioned, he's split and he's dividing opinions. You know, hardcore boxing fans are saying there should be no place for it, that it's disrespecting the sport. Obviously, then people that are from the social media sort of era are like, we love it. It's bringing a bit of something. It's bringing new fans. You know, that YouTube generation. I always say that if out of 10 YouTube fans that come to the sport, one or two of them take up the sport or love the sport for what it is, then it's worth it. So what's your opinion on it?
Well, I don't want to get too carried away with it and saying it's amazing. You can't knock him for the training and the hard work he's putting in. It's giving access to boxing that people otherwise didn't have before. Am I a huge fan of it? I mean, I just don't want it to detract away from some of the guys who've dedicated their lives to it since they were 8 and 9 years old. However, you can't knock him for doing what he's doing, and I think it's almost a different way of seeing a fighter, and he's fighting his way in a very short space of time to be successful. Whereas, you know, some of these guys in here have been being dropped off at boxing clubs by their parents when they were 7. So I think you've got two contrasting sports almost. But in essence, if it brings new eyeballs to the sport, who am I to say it's negative?
Absolutely, and we're all still talking about it, aren't we? Isn't that it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much again for the invite here. We really appreciate it, and hopefully see you again soon.
Cheers.
Francis Warren for Fight Connect TV.